universal. The idea of what makes Keller Williams different is they share everything almost like a blueprint for success. And all you need to do is follow the blueprint, right? When I started 2017, Drew's my son. He was in university at the time. His older brother was in university at the time. His younger brother was in university at the time. And his younger sister was in university at the time. All in different schools, all in residence and so on. So you can imagine the financial pressure at that time. And I've been self-employed the whole time. And the reason why I joined Keller was that I didn't have time to figure it out. I needed just somebody to tell me what to do. And that's what these series are for. And it blows my mind that we have 130 taking guests here in Keller here, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you guys are already ahead of, you're in the top 1% picture you know, so that's a great thing. And the biggest thing that I would say, and I had when I first joined, somebody told me this. We'll give you enough that you can become a professional trainee, and all you do is train. You gotta actually do. So I would encourage you, if every time you come to one of these things, it's hard to put it all in place. Just take something and include it in your business until the next one. Because it's almost overwhelming what they provide you.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot, and like Andrew said, try and just take one thing out of it and implement that. And it might not be something you like, and you can go to something else. That's where there's multiple different ways of doing your lead generation, right?
Well, like a classic example of the AI one that we went to. We had I think 8 of us down in Toronto. Everybody took the day off. And we still haven't implemented anything. Right, it just was, well, that session in particular.
That's a lot.
A lot, you know. Anyway, hopefully there's something in here that you can apply and.
Yeah.
And this is really, at the end of the day, this particular one is one that you can find that you'll be able to make money from. You can absolutely come away from this and do a handful of deals and do $50,000 or $60,000 if you just do a few things, so. Let's go.
Yeah, so just this is kind of like the outline. We'll probably skip through some parts there that we don't specifically need, but talking about your marketing and prospecting, right? Truth, lead generation requires both prospecting plus marketing.
So when you drive around and you see the people on the side of the bus or the garbage can or whatever, bus station.
Or your big advertising signs. Marketing.
Prospecting is anybody. What do you do for prospecting?
Talking to people.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. So
Generally
speaking, it's cold calling. It's door knocking. Those are the two main, but some people are not comfortable with that. So maybe it's networking, right? Maybe it's just not being a secret agent and making sure that the people that at your play group or your hockey team know you're a realtor.
Yeah, or open houses. Some people like to just specifically do open houses, right?
We do, everybody on our team has done bold and some more than once. And you're required to prospect 100 leads a week.
Yeah.
100 conversations a week, which
it's a lot.
It is a lot.
It's a lot.
And there's several different ways to do it. I know that Lori Jordan, one of our very famous, super successful agents, she would just stand outside a Home or walk around in Home Depot, or when people she could see that they were doing a home rental project, and she'd just say, "Hey, oh, are you doing home rental? I'm a realtor." And she just got business from she could talk to 40 people in Home Depot.
Yeah.
In an afternoon.
So it's just whatever you feel comfortable with, right? There's lots of people who won't feel comfortable with. You just gotta find the one.
But so the classic is this is a pull. You're going out and you're pulling into your database. This is a push. you push out your message and you hope something comes back.
Yeah.
And those are the two different ways of. So it's always about these METs, right? Because whether we prospect or market, we end up with a conversation. There are people that are on the phone, we haven't met them yet. And the higher level of somebody who's gonna transact is somebody that you've actually physically met. Sometimes that's a listing presentation, sometimes that's a meeting at a coffee shop, sometimes that's just even that first point of contact at the door.
Mhm.
That's why maybe door knocking is a little bit more stronger relationship
Then
and
cold calling.
closer to an appointment than cold calling. Because cold calling, you still gotta
You
go
haven't
and
met
see
yet.
them and then get an appointment.
Oh.
Sometimes you can go from a haven't met straight to an appointment, but that's
Yeah.
sort of the flow.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you think of it, cold calling, door knocking, right? It kind of just, the cold calling, if you still haven't met them, you have to turn it into the met, you go from here to down, right? Instead of here, down. It's a couple different ways, but some people are really good at cold calling and some people are better at door knocking. So,
It might be a referral, you might be talking to somebody that you did a deal with before and they might say, hey. You know, my sister's thinking about buying a house and here's her numbers, you call them. And they're not a met. But sometimes, and a lot of what this session is about. Is all the steps that help you turn it into a met and turn it into appointment. They say that. People have to talk to us somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 times before they're comfortable enough to transact with us. So if that's the average, then. I know that all the people that are telling us right now. It's not a good time. Still, it's a good time to put in the piggy bank 1 of the 12.
Mhm.
Wish them a happy Thanksgiving, call them back at Christmas time, give them a market update on whatever. So.
Yeah, a good example that I've had from sort of this scenario is I was door knocking and I door knocked a lady, she was very nice. And then a couple months later, she called me back and her brother was moving from Nova Scotia back to there. So I got to do his bye, but it wasn't specifically her.
Yeah,
It was from that interaction, she referred me to her brother. Right, and so that went well, and once she's ready to move, I'll be helping her as well.
So you guys do a heck of a lot of cold calling and dialing, or you did, I don't know if you still are.
Yeah.
these two guys do,
Yeah,
but you know, of the 11 agents, there are people that get sweaty and break out in hives when it comes to picking up the phone.
right,
Yeah.
Or even door knocking.
Right.
So there's a balance, that's why I was hoping that maybe Amanda or Brooke could be here today. We're happy to have a Thanksgiving event. And we're providing clients with either pumpkin or apple pie, so they're doing deliveries, trying to get them out there for Thanksgiving.
But yeah, like Brooke is totally different. She does not like the cold calling. She will not, but she's very good at just like referral networking, like.
Yeah.
She'll get her parents and stuff like to bring in, like, talk to other people and be like, hey, my daughter, like, that's just one way of doing it and it works for her.
I was gonna ask specifically from the habit that's right to the appointments, like in your experience just on the call. It could happen, right, but I'm just wondering, as it, like, Brendan, we've been at it for a couple of years now. I mean, have you ever gone from like a cold call to an appointment? Like,
Oh, yes.
with less than that road in between.
Yeah, no, I've had it happen. I can't specifically, but I definitely know it's definitely happened, yeah.
It's all about getting, like, people like to work with people they know and like, so it's always like when I'm cold calling or. Through, like, if it's maybe a bit of a warmer lead, try and get them to talk, cause people like to talk about themselves, so. Maybe it asks, more questions about their, what's the.
Yeah, it's your
yeah.
family, your occupation, your recreation and dreams, right? You just go off that and get them to talk. And then they'll start bringing up points that are like, oh, I can relate to that, I can relate to that. You have a.
They try and make notes so that when you call them again, you can ask, hey, last time we talked, you mentioned this, how's that going, like. People
that's
like
that.
that kind of thing, yeah.
12 conversations, they're not all the same, each one is deeper.
Yeah, and
Because
you're starting to know
their
their,
knowledge base.
you're starting to know their kids' names, their dog's name, what they like to do, right? And you bring that up in the next conversation, like, wow, you actually took the time to think and remember that, right?
Let's go to next slide.
Next slide.
So, Keller Williams is very heavily prospecting based, marketing enhanced. So, you know, when you look at across the city, do you ever see Keller Williams billboard or Keller Williams bus or Keller Williams? They don't, right? Sometimes they do, and the bigger teams like Purcell and Georgia Bay and Walker and
McMurray, Monday night.
McMurray, maybe a little bit of Linden Knight, yeah, for sure. They'll have the occasional billboard and so on, but they 100% are focusing on here, and marketing enhances this. This alone, I can't imagine that someone would be driving down Maple and see Neil Bailey Hayes side of the inside of the bus station at 50 kilometers an hour and go, oh, I gotta call that guy selling us. Like, I just can't imagine. Now, I can imagine that if Neil called them and spoke with them or was referred to them and they see him, they go, that verifies that he's a good guy. That's what the enhanced part means. But it's definitely the emphasis here on all these systems is on trust.
Yeah, so that's what Andrew was just talking about.
Yeah. And we've spent money, like Drew's a mortgage agent as well as a real estate agent. And I can remember when when he got his license, I thought, let's go on B101. And we'll spend $2,000. Somebody, we always get phone calls. You guys get them too, probably now. Oh, you want to buy this lead system or, you know,
Quick
whatever.
name on
As
these.
soon as you're on the internet, and you'll eventually start getting this stuff, at least once a year. They want to sell you some kind of a marketing program. So B101 hit me and I thought, you know what, why not? Let's do it for mortgages. And they had a little jingle they made for us, and then it was all about call Drew and he had so many people say I heard about, but they were all his friends.
Yeah.
And people that he knew, but we could, you know, I think we spent $2,000, we were on the radio for 2 months, maybe 200 hits, something like that. And absolutely nothing came. And then, of course, they tell you, well, you know, for it to really sink in, you gotta run it for the whole year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the cost on prospecting is minimal. But the marketing, like,
Mhm.
I don't even know how much Ferris and Peggy spent. How can you compete with that? Like, they're probably in the $1 million range.
Yeah, they had $2 million marketing budget when she was here. And that was, so that's 10 years ago.
Not bad. And so, like, when I get approached by my neighborhood magazine and I look at it, she's already got a full page in there and they're trying to sell me a little corner box, right? Like,
What's the,
I disappear. So, but time and effort is, and that's free, right? When we're either individual as a team, we don't spend money here, but it is, money is time, so that is an investment. But we feel like the prospecting is the most important part of what's going to build a business to be successful.
yeah, for the cost and time, right? You spend 4 or 5 hours a day doing door knocking and cold calling, and sometimes you don't get the results, but right, you gotta keep doing it, and it's right, then you could just put out an ad for thousands of dollars and just sit there, right? It's very, it's not really a balance there, but.
Yeah. So back to kind of my story, I was very fortunate in that I landed right at the right time in terms of the time of year. I landed in December of 2016. And Bold was in the first week of when I joined. So I went to Bold. And I also did our Ignite series. And at that time, the Ignite, when we did Ignite, it was pre-COVID. And this room would have been full for the first one, like every seat did. And we had Joanne Burlington, we had Dave Walker, we had Dave Hawkins. We had all these people that had been in the business a long, long time. And every week they basically gave you everything that they do. And that's kind of what a little bit of what we're gonna do today. But back to the prospecting and the marketing, when I look at the way the business is built, because of Bowl and because of Ignite, when I got into the marketing, I had to do the 100 a week for the first 2 months. I got into cold call. This is the only way I could do it. Because at the time I was still doing mortgages and I didn't have time. I was actually working my full-time job too. So my full-time job, I had my mortgage license and I just got my real estate license and I signed up for the stupid course and made me do 100 contacts. The only way for me to do the 100 contacts was to do it on a Saturday. So I woke up Saturday morning, 9 AM, fired up Mojo and pounded 100 contacts within by noon. Everybody's home on Saturday, so it was easy. But if you look at the results from that first year, I've got to guess 12 deals in the first year, 8 of them from cold calls. And to your point, though, they happen quickly. Well, those cold calls delivered closed sales in the first 12 months. Different market, it's not happening now. And so it made up like 75% of the business. And if you look at it over time, I start to be less prospecting now because the phone's ringing from referrals and things. And that's, you gotta jumpstart it somehow. And if you forget about prospecting, you're gonna leave $60, $70, $80,000 a year on the floor. Prospecting and cold calling equals rejection. That's what people think, that don't do it. So, Drew, you cold call for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a lot of people that just say, no, I'm not interested. I had a few people that maybe were a little bit rude, maybe caught them on a bad day or anything like that, but I had 2 people that weren't necessarily like, they say, oh, I am thinking about, downsizing at some point down the line, and they didn't have a realtor in mind. They've been living in their house for a number of years, so you can send them a letter in the mail whenever the post strike is done, but with my business cards and make a note to call them sometime next year. And hopefully that's something that, obviously it's not today business, but maybe it's next year or the year after. If I keep stacking sort of these contacts, the idea is that'll add up to, a good amount of business down the line.
So Brennan was rookie of the year as a result of his strong prospecting. And his meeting people, building purposeful business relationships makes it, he's built a strong real estate business in year 3 now.
3 years, yeah.
So myth number 2, prospecting means contacting people you don't know. The truth is, prospecting means contacting people you know as well as those that you don't know. So cold calling and door knocking is or networking with new people or attending trade shows or whatever. All those are you don't know. But you have a sphere of influence. And when I look at my business now, my sphere of influence, I coded in green for cold calling, blue for sphere. My sphere is now the majority of my business because they see me as a successful realtor. They would probably never have called me if they didn't see me on social media and have done these deals and so on, right? So, but you need to contact the people you know as well as those you don't. We're giving out these Christmas pies or Thanksgiving pies right now. But most people will have approximately 200 contacts in your phone, friends and family. And if they're within a 1 hour circle, they should definitely be prospected. And that doesn't mean that you're calling them and asking for business. That just means you're calling them and giving them forward, family, occupation, and let them know, hey, I want to be here for you. Remember, I'm in the business. If you're in my shoes, when should I call you? And I say, I don't want to buy you that. And they might say, oh, you know what? Give me a shout in the spring. And get their buy-in on when you should be talking to them. Because you don't want to be that person who's irritating someone and feeling like you're abusing them. But if you're honest with them and just say, and the truth is, and I've told this to these guys many, many times, and you guys know, you probably know as well. The average realtor is extremely incompetent.
Yeah.
You're saving them from a disaster. So if you come from that perspective, that you're actually there to save them from An incompetent person is gonna cost them thousands of dollars and potentially stress them the heck out. You've got backup of the brokerage and you've got backup of these systems that. For the most part, even on some of those bigger teams. Like, tell us your experience with the latest person who had a house that you wanted to show. Just that blows me away. The guy.
Yeah, it was, I could tell it was underpriced, was trying to get the. You know, see what the seller's motivation. I have a first time home buyer who's got a max budget of just over 500. This listing that came up south of Barry, just off of Young there, in those new townhouses for $499. They dropped from 600. There's no offer date in the brokerage remarks, so I'm like, okay, are these guys just trying to fire sale this thing, or what? Like, are they gonna take a full ask offer? My guy's maxed out at 520, so there's no point in wasting our time if they're expecting, you know, 100,000 we're asking. And I'm just trying to reach out to the agent. It took me two days to get a hold of him. And when I finally got a hold of him, he goes, "Oh, what's our listing price on that house?" He's asking me. I'm like, "You have it listed for $499." He's like, "Oh, no. Like, we couldn't even think about an offer at that." I'm like, "Oh, well, I didn't see an offer date or anything like that." Oh, that should be in there. I'm like, like, you're doing your client such a disservice here, like. Anybody who's showing the house right now thinks they can get it for 500.
So the client's seeing showings from people who can never afford to buy it, because they didn't do their job well. Anyway, that's the point of being confident about talking to your scared. That's just that a classic example of, even though that person has 7 listings, they're doing a horrible job.
For myth 3 here, I can kind of attest to this. Prospecting is what you do to keep your real estate business running and growing. You should never stop prospecting. So there's times where you'll get busy and you'll have deals coming in and you'll stop prospecting, and then 6 months later, you'll be wondering why you have no business. So.
It's kind of an endless loop. You get
Yeah.
busy, you stop prospecting, you're done those deals, you have nothing on your plate, so you go hammer down on prospecting,
And it keeps.
you get stuff, yeah, so if you just,
It's this roller coaster.
yeah.
So it's.
Sitting there doing nothing, so you prospect now, so you know, let's take it. This opens up and introduces the power of conflict.
Yeah.
So 22% of sellers have an agent already and 12% of buyers. So
Lots to go around.
we talk about the orphans in this industry. Why is it that there's 12% of people, of sellers, or 22% of sellers don't have an agent? Certainly they bought their house with an agent, or they work directly with the listing agent. And the reason why is because 4 out of 5 real estate agents, once they do the deal, they forget them. They don't, the person might not even remember your name. And that's prospecting to a sphere, prospecting to an existing list clientele. So that happens because you didn't put them on a newsletter, you didn't bring them a Christmas card, you didn't drop them off, you know,
And I've
seeds for the spring or whatever.
I've dealt with a lot of people that had an agent 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, right? And I somehow got the business. And I was like, oh, well, they have an agent, probably not gonna happen, but I kept talking to them and I still got that business, right?
You'd also be surprised,
Happens a lot.
you'd also be surprised how many people are out of business. Big turnover these last few years.
Yeah, or WP might have had something to do with that for a lot of folks. It's a small thing, but for some folks that aren't doing deals, it's a big thing, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yep. Yeah, just how people choose an agent, right? So they use, 4% both buyers and sellers use this agent that contacted them. 40 for buyers, 38 for sellers, use the agent referred to them by a friend or relative or neighbor. That's like by far the best, right? You do business with someone and they refer you to other friends and family because it was such a good transaction, right? That's the easiest way to get it.
You have to take care of those done business.
Yes.
Past. And work so hard to get them.
Yeah.
We can't let them go. They have to make them, you know,
The best
make them
transaction.
really understand that They know, like, and trust you. And they would never think of using anybody else.
Yeah, for example, the place where I go to my hair salon, I helped a family there buy and sell. And now like I'm kind of getting more stuff going on from just the hair salon itself, right? So I'm helping another buy actual hairdresser. She wants to get a lease, so that'd be the third deal from my hair salon. Just refer. And then use the same agent they used before, so 12 and 22, right?
Just shows you how bad a job the average real estate agent is doing.
People choose. Stuff prospect.
Yeah, let's go next slide.
Yeah.
So prospecting is inexpensive and it yields immediate results. There's a little bit of that. But more important, it puts you in control of your pipeline. It increases your confidence and skills, so once you start to talk, like, imagine just sitting there versus you get on the phone with somebody and say, well, what's happening in the market? And now you have a conversation about real estate, and then they may say something that might tweak you and you go do a little bit more research, so the next time you do the call. Or you didn't know the answer to the question that they're asking. So then you go and do the research, and the next time every time you talk to somebody, you're better. And we don't necessarily like to practice on our prospects, but just your increased confidence and skill comes from actually talking to people.
Yeah, I mean. The way I did a bit different, like I did not want to cold call, I thought it was like the most cringe thing ever, I just started doing it, it kind of just came naturally, it just happened. But I wouldn't want to practice with someone, I was like, I couldn't do that, I thought it was like the weirdest thing ever, so I would just, it feels silly at first, very silly. So I would just do it to the people I was talking to, and probably, I just got better over time, right, probably shouldn't be doing it to the people so if you're just picking up the phone and calling, you don't know what you're doing, right? But that's the way I wanted to do it, cause I didn't wanna do it in front of someone else. So
Yeah,
that was-
it's this whole idea, of don't wait for it to be perfect.
Yeah, don't wait
You
for
can't, you'll never be perfect, you just spin cycles on waiting to have it exactly, just get going.
And you'll come across things that make it better, that you don't like, that you
Yeah,
figure out.
at first, as soon as somebody gave the slightest bit of no, I was like, okay, have a great day, hang on. Now it's like, oh, well, if your situation were to ever change, did you have a real estate agent in mind? Oh, no, I've been in this house 20 years, I don't know anybody in the business. Oh, I'd love to be a source of, knowledge for you if you ever have any, like, you kind of build a little bit of more. Like tools in your toolbox to kind of talk to people for sure.
So.
Steps to prospect.
Sorry, right, okay, 3 steps.
Yeah.
So approach, connect, ask, and these are it's ring a ring or knock knock or show up at the networking event. With a realtor tag on and ask someone what they do first. And then, 100% of the time they'll ask you what you do, and say to the realtor. And everybody's gonna say, well, how's the market? What's happening? And so, those steps are common across all platforms.
Yeah,
And
and
they just lead to that conversation, but eventually, what Drew was saying. Was you need to get to the point where you actually ask. For permission to send information and start providing value.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily gonna ask them if they're gonna, well, I mean, you do, are you thinking about buying, selling, and investing in real estate in the next 12 months? No. That's a simple question, but
It
to
might
go
be
beyond
an
that,
email.
do you have, or if, circumstances change in the next 3 to 5 years, do you have somebody that, because sometimes you go through this whole thing, you find out that there's some, because they're sitting there and they're bored. And now you're half an hour in, you find out that their son is a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Let me waste all that time.
Yeah.
right?
So, but asking questions is the
Yeah.
key, always.
At the end of the day, they're already saying, no, it doesn't hurt to, ask.
Yeah, Sarah's very good, and I wish Jamie was here, Drew's brother, because he's kind of our cold calling machine right now. And he's got and we can share this with you if anybody's interested. We can share with you our flow chart. If they say this, then you say that. If they say that, then you say this.
Yeah.
And it's just, you just have it in front of you. and it just prompts you what to say next, and it feels, when you look at it, when you think of it, you think, oh, I could do that.
Okay.
It's cheesy, or it doesn't feel genuine, or whatever.
Spin it your own way.
You'd be surprised, yeah, if you turn it into how you.
Yeah, however you,
You can't be disingenuous, you can't be anything else but you.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they gotta know, like, and trust you, and if they feel like you're giving them some, pardon my French, bullshit. They're not gonna know, like, and trust you, so you have to be genuine to yourself in how you speak and what you say. And when they vibe with you, and they feel like they're comfortable, then you've got a customer.
yeah,
Well, eventually, everybody, what, man, you know this probably better than I do. I think the stat was the average person sells their house every 7.
That's less, I think it's, yeah, 4 to 6, I think it's the North American average.
there you go.
Well,
So,
That's crazy.
yeah. So,
3 steps.
have the right mindset, we're always saying, it's always a mindset. Because you're sitting there sweating, you're thinking about, oh, somebody's gonna swear at me or yell at me or something like that. And the reality is that, and, you know. I think it is a little bit of a ruder environment post-COVID. But when I was pre-COVID and I was doing all my prospecting, I did 25 a day, every day. For 2 years, approximately, so 125 a week was my goal. And I felt like I didn't do my job unless I did my 25 prospects. For contacts. And I was surprised that in that kind of 2 years, I think I might have got yelled at twice. So 500, 6,000, 12,000 times I talked to people. And it wasn't, I didn't have that pushback at all. But be proactive, don't be a secret agent, don't wait for people to come to you, be willing to break the ice. Hey, I'm Andrew. What do you do? So be friendly, caring, and most importantly, be real. That's the genuineness. Be curious about them and their concerns. Be ready to give positive feedback. Be confident in your pace and your posture, and be ready to connect. This is one thing that we try and talk a little bit about. I don't know if it's in the slide yet or not, but pace and posture is this whole idea of people liking to deal with people that are like themselves. So if I get on the phone with an older person and I'm feeling exceptionally like energetic that day, and the old person is speaking to me, well, I've been in this business 20 years. They're gonna just, I'm gonna feel like, they're gonna feel like I'm talking way too fast and they don't like me if I keep my energy at that current state. So the pace of how you're communicating needs to kind of match what we're talking to.
And about number 7, this was something I talked to I was actually handing out pies last night. One of my previous clients, they asked me to come in for dinner. And so I had dinner with them, still trying to hand, yeah, it's so funny. But they were, that was Nazareth. Nazareth.
nice.
And
Nice.
they were like, how, I think I helped them in my first or second year, and they're like, how long have you been doing this now? I was like, 3 years. They're like, when, I think it was the first year they bought, when it was my first year, they're like, well, we couldn't even tell, it seemed like you've been doing it for 10 years, right? It's just being confident. You might be doing it for 3 months, but everything's at your disposal and it's right there.
Yeah, to Brennan's point, this is the mindset thing. It's, I see this big thing in my head where it's the words I can't. And then there's a red circle around it with the slash through the T. You can, everybody can. And you have this mindset that they're gonna question how long you've been in the business, or do you know what you're doing, whatever. They assume that everyone's the same. They don't ask me, how many houses have you sold? How long have you been in the, I never get asked that. I never have to justify my experience.
Yeah.
Like, rare. Now, I do talk about that to try and get them to listen with us, but. Initially.
A lot of times for, like, when we were newer agents and stuff, like, you can literally say, I am dedicating all my time towards you, and I have no one else to do it, like, right? And you can be like, well, someone that's a high producing agent doesn't have time for you, you're gonna be passed down to one of their minions, right? But this will just be my focus right then and there, right?
It's great whether or not you're on a team or whether or not you're an individual agent, you should really know how to present yourself.
Yeah.
And that's like,
Exactly, with the team part as well.
because either way, there's benefits to both, right?
Yeah.
If you're a single agent, you still have a team, still have the front.
Yeah,
office,
brokerage.
Back end paid deals.
You might have best friends that are in the business, whatever, right? But if you're on a team, you can say, sure, this might be my first 3 months, but I have a team that's been around for this long and they've done this many deals.
You know, like, at the end of the day, you are, everybody has some capabilities.
It's a collaborative effort, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, so. Next slide. Connect. Be a giver, always come from contribution.
There's a really good book called 7 Levels of Communication. If you're a person who does podcasts or listens to audio, books,
John Maxwell,
Something like that, yeah.
I think so.
It's a good book.
It's the number 7. But they talk about being a giver, you come from contribution all the time. And for family, occupation, recreation and dreams, sometimes we struggle with, well, how do I start a conversation? That's a conversation starter. And it's just as simple as, well, John, when you move, who else moving with you? And tell me about your family. Oh, my wife, you know, where does she work? Oh, she works here, is she close to retirement? Oh, okay, do you have any kids that are coming home? What about pets? Look, right, so now you're having a whole conversation, you're getting to know who they are, and what do you do for them at home? Where are the challenges there? How long have you been there? You know, like that conversation, I'd be shocked if you got to more than 2 of these inside of a half hour. But maybe, you know, first of those 12 contact points, you ground family the first time, the next time you're figuring out the work, the next time you're figuring out, and then their dream.
Yeah, it's very hard to just like, when you're cold calling someone, they're very like, they're not gonna open up to you right away. You might just get, hey, you might get their email or something like that, you might get a little detail. And then the next call, you start to build, right? Then you can go into those 20-30 minute conversations, but your first one with cold calling, I mean, it's rare, it happens, but
Even
I've
people
had it,
who
like,
don't.
yeah, even when you're door knocking,
But
right?
these things too are, you can use board at the door.
Yep.
Okay, so like, you know, how long have you been here? Tell me about your family, like. Kids go to local school and then next thing you know. You're having a real conversation, and that's coming from giving, trying to get them to share with you a little bit about.
Step 3, ask. How to ask, are you looking to buy or sell or invest, right? Just ask the question, if they say no, it might not be now, it might be 2 years down the road, right? So after that, you're trying to get their email, you're trying to get their phone number, right? So you can send them something of value, right? People don't just want crap given to them, but if it's something of value and you can provide that for them, they'll be more than willing to take that, right? So.
You'd be surprised the amount of times you call somebody and they'll say, oh, if I call you, you know, sometime next year. And maybe you push it a little bit longer, you call them the end of the year, you call them and they're already listed. Yeah, drives you
Happens all the
insane.
time.
But it's always like people may be very like confrontational, but you never know what they're thinking in the back of their mind. They could already be considering selling or buying or making a move and.
I have a rule of thumb, if someone said 6 months, you reach out 3, right? You gotta rate.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
Or someone said, I'm thinking about next year, you say, okay, right away, you try and flag and go, okay,
Yeah.
6 months, I'm gonna reach out to these folks.
Yeah.
The times change.
Yeah, I've had that happen probably, I think 4 or 5 times this year, I called them and they're like, oh yeah, we're listed, right? Yeah, it's gonna happen, right? So,
You get their permission to follow up and make sure that they're okay, so that when you call, you're not reticent to call, because you know if they told you could.
mhm,
And it's important to get their contact information, because the 36-point touch that we're getting towards and so on. We need their email, we need their phone number, we need their email, and we need their home address. Once we have all those 3 things, now we've got a captured lead that's gonna need to know that. But without all 3 things, we are, every time we're contacting, we're trying to get the missing pieces. Because just helps you get to the point where you transact.
Yeah, if you tell them you're gonna call, you definitely have to call. That happened to Jamie a week or two ago. He said, I'm gonna call you end of August. And the lady had it on her calendar, that call from Jamie, and he called, he followed through, and he got an appointment, it just.
Which, I had my calendar, you could have told me.
It's a good thing you did.
Yeah.
I
Right,
was expecting you.
but yeah, if you're doing any sort of prospecting, and if you don't get any information. It's just a waste of your time, right? So you're always trying to get some piece of
I
information,
say that, we don't want this, to steal this from, what was that guy's name, Jack?
yeah,
Was it Jack? Big tall guy? I forget. Don't step over the nickels to pick up the pennies.
yeah,
So,
Wayne,
so we talk to somebody, we door knock somebody, we network with somebody, and they say, call me in August. And now you've got a task in your CRM, in man, call them in August, and then you get busy, and all of a sudden it's September, and we haven't called them. Well, this is what we're saying, this is the nickel, these other stuff is the pennies, the money is involved. So,
yeah,
without proper contact information, you can't get it. Call, visit, an open house, host events. Have any of you guys like gone to? Event or is it? Have you hosted open houses? How did it go?
Some not so great.
Yeah, it's tough, it's
It's hit and miss.
Open houses are tough for you.
it's hit and miss, yeah. I mean, I feel like 40% of the time you get 0 people, like it happens all the
Oh,
time,
they come in and they have a real.
or yeah. I think
That's what I said.
Mhm.
Right, but that's when you ask questions, okay, what's their name, right? And then they're like,
I'd love to
oh,
keep them informed about the listing.
yeah,
Maybe I know, yeah, that's a good thing, approach, right?
Yeah, I'd love to let them know if we get an offer.
Price change or an offer, or
Yeah.
whatever, yeah.
asking.
And then if they stumble, you know that they're.
Yeah, they're just,
So I think that
they don't wanna get handled, right?
Exactly.
If you find out that someone doesn't have a realtor and they're currently looking, that's like a pretty big light in our brains, right?
But
So,
you'll find that you're gonna find something. That. Works for you, not everybody can go to build their business on open houses. And be successful with it, like, I would suggest that Brooke probably gets 3 times the number of contacts from the open house than I do. She just has an aura about her, she's beautiful inside and out, and. She comes across as very genuine and caring, I'm too aggressive like that, but they don't like me here.
I've hosted a ton of open houses and I've had maybe 2 leads. When I've been, so open houses. are-
You never know, it's a crapshoot. Jamie, brother, his very first open house, he actually did it while he was waiting to get licensed. He got licensed next week.
yeah, it's like yours, like yours.
He met the people there, so trying to learn how to do it. Following weekend, and they were his first clients. So.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I have too. Yeah.
He had a listing last year that he's done 8 years from, directly from open houses and from having that listing and having it. So, I mean, it's not that way anymore, you know, it used to be every time you got a listing, you were able to run an open house, and that meant you were able to get another buyer or another seller. In order to help them buy as well, so, right, but yeah, things have changed a little bit, anyway, visiting, know your options for visiting, door knocking, pop buys, random encounters, so. Door knocking is obvious, you're gonna try and knock 100 doors or set aside 2 hours and do a specific neighborhood. And we've done several different ways of doing it lately, what we've been doing, and Amanda's really good at this. Is coming up with a feature sheet for the neighborhood, it'll say right on it. The houses that have sold in the neighborhood, what they sold for, when they sold, the ones that are currently for sale, she'll have it all on a piece of paper. And she'll provide that as value to the, and she'll say the average price in this neighborhood is this, the average time of market in this neighborhood is this. And she attaches a card, so she comes with value to them. And then, like, the open house one that was yesterday. Monday.
Yesterday.
Yes.
Yesterday. So there are specific things that, like, we don't, this isn't about trying to teach you how to door knock, but if door knocking is your thing. Then there'll be a door knocking resource that you can get right into it, and I'll tell you, don't start right at the door, you gotta step back and you maybe down the steps so that they're up and you're down and. Very respectfully with your card
Don't walk on
or
the
the language, you can say.
Yeah.
Just walk away, oh, by the way, there's certain prospect in Keller Williams Real Estate, walk away, oh, by the way, would you like would you like me to let you know what it sells for, when it's sold?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fine, oh, what's your phone number, 705. So some things, tricks and things like that, that you can do to become a better door knocker.
Mhm.
It's funny you say don't cut across the, sorry, Ann, you don't say cut across the lawn, Tom Mitchell had a story about that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
love
He
that
was
story.
he was cutting across the lawn and the
Guy.
Oh,
looked out the
yeah,
window at him and he just tore a strip off and was swearing at him and everything else. He listed his house about 6 months later.
yeah. So, yeah, you never
That
know.
was a minister, it was a bad day, and just
Yeah.
got him wrong, but Tom and Vincent Bongard, he door knocks consistently
Oh, yeah.
and constantly. He goes across the grass, he said, I can save time, he said, I can do X number of doors more in the 3 hours or 4 hours I'm out here.
Sure.
And then I'm not, that was smart that way, right?
Oh,
Like,
funny.
my brain is like, cause I was a baby boy and when I was growing up, you didn't cut across the grass.
Yeah.
So I still have a problem going across there.
Yeah, I try and take it, if I do it, I'm like, trying to take as
Yeah.
least steps as possible.
Yeah.
That house are different, right? You can operate over the
Yeah.
top.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah.
Have you ever hit a trailer hitch with your, Preferably stop more than once. Just looking at the door and not realizing it's, so knowing who to visit, FISBOs is a thing in the States, a little bit more than here, for sale by owner. Expired listings, again, we have to be careful when we're doing that, but if you're door knocking. There's nothing preventing you from looking up the houses that were listed in the area
Mhm.
and that are now off the market, so that you know when you approach that door, they were on the market for 6 months. It's very important for you to door knock the whole neighborhood, you can't just go and door knock that one door. But they obviously tried to sell, they didn't have a good experience,
So maybe.
highly likely they're gonna sell again in the short term.
Mhm.
And you be that person. So have something ready to talk, and that's why we have that sheet, so we can say, okay, here's what's happening in the neighborhood for people like that.
Definitely always have some sort of business card or
Yeah.
a digital card for.
We try and encourage agents to have a farm, and that, when I first joined Jen Holmes, who's a dear friend of mine, was my coach. And Jen was all about geo farming, so she would circle 300 or 400 houses in her neighborhood. And if they're all moving every 4 years, that means 100 deals are happening a year. If all she did was get 10% of them, she'd get 10 deals in a geo farm. So she goes and knocks on those doors 4 times a year. And they get used to seeing her at the door, and she's constantly there. There was a thing from Keller, and I know you know this one. Where they did a survey of a neighborhood and they said, who are the top agents in the neighborhood? Right? And random responses. Then for a year, they hit the neighborhood with flyer drops, business cards of an imaginary realtor that never did a deal. They redid that neighborhood to see who was the highest rated realtor in that neighborhood. It was the imaginary one. So just by being consistent with a geo farm and doing door knocking in that area, flyer drops, all that kind of thing, you can start to own your look. I live here. I know this school, I know this trail where I walk my dog, I know how to get to. the
You're
farm
motivated to
and
get the
everything.
most for their house, cause you.
So this area more than I can, I live,
And your home value affects my home value, so.
all kinds of things. So, and it's just so genuine, right? So that's a great way of prospecting. Yeah, we talked. about-
Hosting events, attending open houses, right, seminars, classes like this, customer appreciation parties.
I
stuff
tease
like that.
Jen because I talked to her about her hen parties, but she's got about, I'd say there's 40 ladies. And they'll pick, like, we're gonna go and do the painting thing. Or we're gonna go and do the pottery thing, and we're gonna go and learn how to. And it's a fun evening for her, because they're all her friends, but she organizes it, and it's an event, and she does like 2 or 3 a year. And yeah, we've fallen down, like, you know, when we do these things, there's, like I said, there's so many things you can take away. We did a seminar here for first time home buyers, we filled this whole room. You two guys were in it.
Yeah.
And Mac and Sam Cupa unfortunately bought a house from me. But has there been anybody else in that room from that day that you can trace a transaction back to?
Well, my friend right now, he's still looking to buy, like, he's
Yeah.
on the prowl, but just hasn't found anything yet.
Yeah, so, you know, these things just generate, again, and they give you confidence as well.
You gotta circulate to percolate.
Yeah,
Yeah, overcoming a limiting mindset. So yeah, getting comfortable with making contact, mindset affirmations, right? When I started, I didn't want people seeing me outdoor knocking that in like my own neighborhood. I thought that would be like the biggest like cringe thing ever. Or like I'm just walking around the neighborhood, my best friend sees me, he's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? Just one of those sales guys, but no, you just gotta get over that mindset and do it, right? And be like, if I don't do it, I could be missing out on $10,000.
here's a good mindset example. Let's say they're home and they're happy to hear from me. They're home, they're happy and they're happy to hear from me. I don't know, that's right, I got that wrong, but. If you have that mindset, then it's very, very helpful for you to actually make the effort. But we just had our ties, and I've been busy with a bunch of personal stuff, and I have 50 I gotta get out today and tomorrow. So yesterday, I sat there between 4 and 5 o'clock and banged up 50 text messages to my 50 people. They're all on the phone, they're all people I know that I've done deals with before, but. Some of them, I would have sold them a house in the peak. I know specifically Fred and Michelle, I sold them a house on Grants Way for 1.45. The houses on Grants Way are now 1.1. So those people in my head, I've cost them $300,000, they hate me, you know? But I had this mindset, I'm just gonna send everybody a text message after pumpkin piece. And I can show you my phone, I was overwhelmed. Within, as soon as I started hitting those text messages. People were responding, and I started at 4, finished at 5, by the time 6 o'clock was done, I heard from everyone. And all of them were, thank you so much, and really great to hear from you, and you know, this kind of pie, and including those people that I, in my head, thought I hated. So it is a mindset thing, and sometimes, you know, even if you catch somebody and they're off that day, you don't know if their parent passed away or their dog died that day or whatever, you just have to have a mindset all the time of, this is your job. Job is to prospect. If you don't prospect, you're not doing your job. If you don't do your job, you're not gonna be a realtor, then your job's gonna be to show up at 9 o'clock and work till 5 and have someone else tell you.
Something that you helped me with mindset is, that if you just go into it, say it's cold calling, maybe it's door knocking, whatever it is you're trying to tell as many people that you hope they have a great day. And that's like the beginning part of it, yeah, but if you're going into it with the mindset of I'm gonna tell these people that it sounds cheesy. And people will be mad at you on the phone and you just go, oh, well, I hope you have a great day. Oh, that's
They,
So
most of the time, look at that, you have a great day too.
yeah.
And when they do that, you're like, yes. And so it's kind of like, it's maybe the competitiveness in me or whatever, but I make a little game out of it, I try to say, okay, I'm gonna tell 25 people to have a great day today. And when I'm done my prospecting, even if I didn't get anything out of it, I had 25 people tell me that.
Yeah.
So.
It's a little bit cheesy, but it gets you around the whole, all these no's, right? Because all these no's are supposed to get you closer to a yes. You're getting those people, okay, well.
It drags you down,
Yeah.
you need to be, the mindset is. You know, it's gonna be 96 no's to 98 no's to 4 to 2 yeses. So, and Drew's right, every no is that much closer to a yes, and really what you're waiting for is, well, actually, I was saying, well, actually, yeah. Figure all that yourself, and that's why you're searching.
So
Alright,
daily routine, so habit of 3 hours daily lead gen, so that's where your time blocking comes in, right? Block the first couple hours of your day, if it's 2, if it's 3, right? Block those to say, I'm doing nothing else. Besides door knocking, cold calling, If you have a website, anything like that, calling leads from the website, whatever it is, prospecting, do that for 3 hours a day. And try to stick to that every single day, once you come in 9 o'clock, boom, 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 get it done, and then you can do whatever you want with the rest of your day.
Don't answer your phone if your spouse calls you.
Yeah,
Just your kid calls you, tell them ahead of time, I'm unavailable from 9 to 11. This is how you catch me in an emergency, call me, text me 911 and I'll pick up, but.
Mhm.
Like, why is it the teacher, nurse, why is it that they're unavailable? But why is it that realtors are always supposed to be available for their friends?
Yeah,
Like, we're working,
Yeah, if they work in regular 9 to 5, you
if we
can't.
don't work, we're gonna be unemployed. And then we won't be able to answer our phone because we're not allowed to pick up the phone when we're at work for personal matters.
Yeah.
So it's, and it's just a 3 hour window, really, because the rest of the day, yeah, you
Yeah,
can be
you can-
that person, but you need to be really, like, when you time block. You gotta tell everybody, friends, family, whatever, don't bug me Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever you decide to do. Put it in your calendar and live and breathe and die by it.
Yeah,
because
whatever
that's
it
the
is.
secret to success.
turn off your phone if you have like a landline or something, I use the landline for cold calling, so. I'll try and put that away, which usually never happens, but, right, so. Just try to, time blocking is huge for sure.
Majority of things do not require you to drop everything.
Yeah,
Like it can wait an hour or two.
Yeah, like I say, there will be those emergency calls, but 99% of the time they're not. Pick up an uncle when they home, can be a message that you can get at noon rather than 9 AM.
so time block, and then after your 3 hours of lead gen, then you go into your follow-ups for an hour, right? Who do I need to call today that I've spoken to 3-4 months ago, right, so.
Yeah,
So just time block.
That doesn't have to all be cold calls too, you can
Yeah.
spend time contacting your sphere or.
Whichever prospecting way you wanna do, right, like door knocking, call your sphere,
we're gonna have a business planning, like. Before the end of the year, and encourage everybody to come, because. Then you can say, okay, I'm gonna line up my year. And in the spring, I'm gonna deliver, a jug of winter weather fluid, or at Christmas time, I'm gonna deliver one roll from the dollar store of wrapping paper, or just a Christmas card from the dollar store or whatever. But you're gonna set out your plan of how you're gonna be contacting people. And then plan your work and work your plan, because if you show up in the morning and you're entrepreneurial, what am I gonna do today? It's not gonna work.
Try and make a fancy Instagram post or.
it takes an hour.
Yeah. It's so easy to waste the whole day doing nothing that generates business, but makes you feel busy. It's
Yeah,
so easy.
oh yeah.
This idea of
It's my
improving your
favorite thing to do.
skills, I mean, you guys are here, this is great. Improving your skills comes from scripting, like, when I first joined, Dan and Ken Poole and myself and who was else in there?
Until used to come in, remember?
O'Toole, yeah.
Until was here and,
We had like Tuesdays,
Sarah Davis, yeah.
we picked up Sarah Davis, yeah, we picked up, I don't know, 3 houses or 4 houses, and we booked appointments at those houses. And we were just collaborating, it was kind of what a mastermind, I guess you would call it, in Keller Williams terms. And we would book appointments and we would say agent preview, and we'd go out and the 6 of us would go out and see a farm, a condo, and a residence, or whatever. Or maybe somebody had a listing and they wanted to drag us all through. But in that process, we all learned a lot from each other about the market, about what to say and things, that was invaluable. And I got to kind of tag around with Dan, who had way more experience than I did, and I learned from Ken, and so. You'll find places where you're comfortable improving your skills. Brendan wasn't comfortable, role playing. Ring, ring, ring,
Do that.
Brendan,
No,
would be one-on-one in 8x8, you know.
No.
Just no, it makes me sweaty,
I can't do
I'm
it,
sick today, I'm not doing that.
yeah,
Just feels, yeah, you
Can't
can't
do
do
that.
it on the phone, Jen.
But,
find what works for you,
yeah,
find what works for you, right?
yeah, there's so many opportunities, like I said at the beginning here. There's so many that you can become a professional trainee, but you'll find the ones that you like and then you just do it.
And there's lots of like Sam Park, he's one of the agents in another office, but He does scripting every 9 to 9:30 every Wednesday, right? I would just ask someone here about that, they can definitely send you the link, right? He's very good at that. So as you
Yeah, there's all kinds of things.
joined in for 30 minutes, right?
Mhm. Dee and Jen and myself on the mastermind once a month, we go for lunch and we'll talk about what's happening in the market and I get some real great insights from them.
So I think this is the last couple slides here, but tracking and accountability. So for your prospecting, I have a whiteboard that has my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I'll have the goal and the actual. So for example, if Monday, if you're looking to do 100 for the week, right? Your goal for Monday is, let's say 25, you only get 10 done, right? So then you have to add it up onto the next couple days, right? So it's good to have it written out in front of you though. It just, when you write it down, it feels good, right? You did your 25, your goal was 25, you did 25, write it down.
It's
Feels
a
good.
very frustrating business, and I'll say that, I've said this so many times. There's no connection between effort and reward. You don't know when you've done a good day work.
Yeah.
You just don't.
It's very true.
You
That is
spend a
what
whole
I'm saying.
day cold calling and then your best friend calls you up that their friend's looking to sell and like, your whole day cold calling didn't, but you got a deal.
So if you
Right.
decide what your day is, and you do the activity that you decided that you're gonna do, that is a good day of work. You go home, you feel you honestly
Yeah.
did your job. And that's why I say, this is your job.
Mhm.
And when you say, I'm gonna do 20, 20, 20, 20, and leave Friday for in case you don't get 20 on Wednesday, you can make it up on Friday. Or if you do, you reward yourself and have a day off, because more than likely you're gonna be doing something Saturday or Sunday, this is, you gotta have some time off.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I would do like 25, 25, 25, 25, and that was my 100, and I would take Friday off. Alright.
So there's a whole bunch of different things that you can track there, but the most important thing is to be able to set a goal and hit it on a daily basis and don't stop until you hit it. And when you hit it, you can go home knowing that
That you
you're
did it.
building a good real estate business that's gonna last.
Yeah.
And eventually, within the next 6 months, those checks will start to cash.
And then if you stop that, like I do at some points, then you'll know why.
Yeah, it's all about consistency, like you can't like, oh, well, if you're doing 25 a day, I'm gonna go and do 200 every. You're gonna burn out,
Yeah, it's
it's
impossible.
unrealistic, like you gotta set a realistic goal and just do it every day and. be-
Yeah. If it's 10,
Yeah,
right, or whatever it is, set yourself a good little goal, because you
once
will.
10 becomes
Yeah.
easy, you'll turn it into 20.
I had a life coach that,
Mhm.
cause I got on this for a long time, and then I stopped doing it because. Just doing 20 again, and he said, you know what, and I was feeling guilty, he said, you know what, why is it 20? Why don't we just reset the number back to 5, just do 5, get going again. Just do 5, and then once you do 5, 10 becomes easy, and then you can get back to the 20.
But you will come to a point of burnout if you're doing 20 a day. I was doing that for a while, and you're like, wow, this is like a lot, and you'll come to a point where it's just like you stop. It's like
Yeah.
that, I
And
know
then it's hard to pick it back
It's
up.
hard to pick it back up, right? So
100%.
it'll happen. It happens. Accountability, like if you have a coach or anything like that. For example, like my accountability, there was scripting every day from 9 to 9:30. This was an everyday thing. So I was here at 9:30 was done, then I would do my lead generation right after that, right? And that made me do it.
The cheapest thing is the peer partner.
Yeah.
So Jen and Guy and myself, that's the cheapest thing. You can hire a coach, you can pay for mentoring here, you can have productivity coaching here that holds you accountable. To whatever standards you set, they're not gonna set them for you, you're gonna set them yourself. Or you have a partner, you know, maybe you find somebody that's in the same stage as their business and you meet weekly and say, this is what I'm gonna do this week, what are you gonna do this week? And let's hold each other accountable, did you do that? So
I know,
it's so easy to not hold yourself accountable,
Yeah.
it's easy, it's.
way easier for someone else to hold you.
Absolutely.
For example, I know someone from this office, Sarah, she would get her kids, she would be like, you guys let me do this work, or we're not going on a trip to Disney World, right? That sort of stuff, you make sure I'm doing my stuff, we'll go on that trip to Disney.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
Rule of thumb used to be 75,000 GCI or less, you'd be in productivity coaching. And if you went over that, you get a maps coach. That was just
Mm.
an AW kind of rule of thumb.
Right,
And because, you know, you don't wanna hire coaches before you're ready.
right,
And
Yeah.
but all great athletes have coaches when you think about it. They
yeah,
all have someone, they all have someone that's
That's holding them.
managing their careers.
LeBron still has a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. They get there
Exactly.
without that.
but yeah, just meeting regularly with them, like every day, did you do your stud, did you do your contacts, right? What are tell them the goals that you have set for the week, right?
My
Every
first business, I hired the productivity coach here in Keller. I didn't realize I did it. It was Jen. And I didn't even look at my checks and she was getting like 5% of every check or something like that. But she was so nice, she'd take my call at 11 o'clock at night, on Saturday, like, Jen, that's what I would do. And so that was super helpful. But that's how I ended up being rookie of the year, because I signed up for a coach and I wouldn't have never got there without her. And then we got into peer partnering after that, the second year. We made this group, I think there were 5 of us, one of the groups that we had was with Dan, that. And then eventually I hired a consultant to build the business. And that's what Brennan was talking about, that was Sean Cabanche. And I gave him 5% of, I think it was 5% of every deal we did.
Yeah.
Every deal he did, every deal I did, he was, so then Brennan had to be at 9 and 9:30, so he had to be here, just like a regular job, and if he wasn't here, they were like, where were you?
Yeah.
For the whole year,
But it made me do my stuff.
and then he would meet with me weekly and say, okay, what are you doing this week?
Yeah.
And so it was really, and that built the business.
Yeah, and yeah, we also our team does things like vision boards, like you put like 3 things you want to do in the year and put like a goal and you just post it in your office, right? And say you want to hit this goal, this many deals, stuff like that. You might not hit it, but at least you're trying to get towards it, right?
Yeah,
it's not so big
difficult
enough.
work, so you need your big why, you need it right in front of your face.
Yeah.
all the time, because it is hard, but if you set goals you believe you can achieve. Like, don't put it 300 grand in your first year, try to make it realistic.
Yeah.
We're in a tough market, if you can make, 60, 80, 100 grand in your first year, then it's totally achievable.
Yeah, so
And then build your business plan to support it and do the activities that support the business plan.
So yeah, just putting it all together, a 3-hour habit, time block 3 hours every work day before noon, right? No skipping. If you must erase, then you must replace. So if you miss Monday, you gotta do it some other day, right? Allow no interruptions unless they are truly emergencies, and everyone will say there's no such thing as a real estate emergency, so.
And no skipping, if you erase it, you must replace. Sometimes we leave our Fridays as our free days so that if we miss something during the week, we have an open block that we can replace it. Because if you don't do it that week, then it's really.
You're just gonna forget about it. I think that's, oh, yeah, that's all.
I'm gonna pull that laptop just real quick and I'll show you guys what I'm stuff, but.
Any questions? Anyone have any?
So when you guys were starting into real estate, were you working other jobs at the same time?
No.
Okay.
I was a mortgage, I still am a mortgage broker. I started mortgages in 2020, so I still kind of do both, yeah.
Right.
They're kind of intertwined, so kind of a lot of the activities are like lead generation and stuff is pretty similar, so.
Right.
It's a bit, yeah, it's hard to.
Like when
compare that.
I started real estate, I was in the military.
Okay.
Full-time job at base board.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be a 3-year plan where I'd transition, as I built up my real estate business, I would hang my uniform.
Mhm.
And every spring, they kept, or every fall, I should say, around this time of year, they'd offer me a full-time contract to go to the next spring. And I thought, well, that's pretty quiet in real estate, I'll
Keep
go
going.
to B-class, I'll go back and work on base,
Yeah.
and then drop off in April, May again. And that lasted 16 years. So don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do two-handed for 16 years. And during that time, I ended up being broker of record here.
Yeah,
And we grew from about 80 to 160 agents.
right.
And so it got pretty difficult to balance everything, there's not way big balance and everything, right? So balance is an illusion, it doesn't happen, but you wanna know where you are in terms of being unbalanced.
Yeah,
Right, and it was difficult, so don't do that. If you can jump all in, the sooner the better, jump all in.
Yeah, that's what I did, I just went straight into real estate, it's a bit different for me though, I mean.
Don't dabble.
It's different if you have like a family and you gotta pay for a lot of things, I was a 23-year-old that was living at home and had to pay for my Xbox and my cell phone.
oh, well.
Right? So it's a bit different, definitely with yours, like what you got, what you have to pay for and stuff like that, right? I mean, I came probably across, but you will come across once you start out, you won't, you have to build up the business, so you might not have any money coming in for 6 months, 8 months.
Yep.
Right, so,
Yeah, you can feel like you have a big business built and then like,
yeah,
maybe not, you can go a couple.
so it all depends on the situation, right? I just jumped right into it, cause I didn't have any big things I had to pay for, right? So it all depends on your situation, I would say.
Just taking a look at the colors. In this case, yellow I marked this year was from open houses. So my first year was somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 deals, but the green is the cold calls. So as you kind of advance from 2017, you're gonna start to see, and this was, the next year was 15 deals, even more cold calls. But that 15 deals was, 100 and, CGI was 155,000 in the second year. Then it starts to go, now 30 deals, and you can see the blue, right? Starting to get super busy with the sphere. But every year, there's green in here, and without each of those ones is $10,000-$20,000. And if you think about it, 3 hours, even if with 2 hours a day, which is 4 days a week, let's say it's 5 days a week, 10 hours a week, making math easy, 40 hours a month times 10 months, 400 hours. If you take, you got a calculator? Take 400 hours divided by $60,000, which is low. How much are you getting paid to prospect?
Well,
It's gonna be the highest paid job you could ever have.
yeah, $150 an hour.
So even when
Not
you're,
bad.
even when you're busy, like, the green is important. I mean, like in here, the green is probably represents not $40,000, $100,000, probably double it, it's probably $300 an hour. And, we look at this, like closer to 50 deals or whatever, but, it's super important, and it's very, very, it makes your business last. So, if the one thing I could get you to take away from this is to time block and to decide what kind of prospecting you're gonna do. And then relentlessly do it. And then make some adjustments after a quarter or after a month, then keep going, never give up, because it's not gonna pay until 6 months down the road. Very few times you get that lot of action. Whatever, like 8 years in business or 9 years in business now, you only had a price. For the most part, I'm driving around. You sent me a letter 5 months ago, and I didn't even prospect at all. I did nothing that day. All I did was golf, and I got rewarded from that. So,
But if you're never making the calls, you're never gonna get a whole action, so.
yeah, people
Yeah,
think,
so-
I'm going to business, I'm going to real estate, my phone's gonna ring.
No, I thought that's what would happen actually.
Yeah.
But sure, it didn't work like that.
Friends and family, just like that, though, I'm using.
Yeah, I thought you were just like, I didn't know you had a cold call or door knock.
And sometimes friends and family will expect more for less too, like they can be harder.
The hardest nights.
Yeah, they can just beat you up and. Then Thanksgiving, get us there on the dinner table with them right after it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Get on for.
Yeah, so I mean, like looking at it, when you do. Cold calling for 6 months, 3 months, right, and then you start to get business, and then you're doing your daily stuff of, I don't know, listing it, you're right, you're getting the information, and then you just start dwindling down on your cold calling, then the next 6 months you'll wonder why there's that gap. Right?
You're in kind of-
It's just a roller coaster, right? It's hard to keep it like this. Very hard.
So that's basically the playbook from Keller and, yeah, the one nugget I would say if you could take away is to actively time block, build a business plan that supports your goal. And it could be that you're working full time and your goal is to do 4 deals this year, so you only need to do 2 or 3 hours a week. You know, not everybody has a goal of $300,000 and $400,000. You can be just sort of comfortable with it, nice $60,000-$70,000, no one's telling me what to do, I manage my own time, I'm super happy with that. So, but you gotta work your, build a plan and plan your work and work your plan.
Anyone have any questions online there? Andrea?
Andrea, I see your stuff online, I like your open house, did you do that last night or is that tonight?
Sorry.
Your open house.
Hi,
is
sorry.
that tonight or last night?
Just 1 second, please.
Yeah, all right.
Sure.
Okay, I'm sorry, what did you ask me?
I saw that you're doing a during a week open house, and I didn't know if that was tonight or
Yes.
last night. Tonight?
No, it is. It's this afternoon, 4:30 to 6. Come on down. Come and see my
Nice.
house.
So you can see how your social media is working, right? I know that.
Yes.
Cause I saw you and I thought it was awesome.
Mhm.
I know, and I appreciate
That's
that you're viewing it. Yeah. No, I am. I'm
Yeah.
really happy with it, and it is working. I agreed.
There you go. But you're not gonna have that open house unless you do the 3 hours in the morning.
Yep.
And then if you do the 3 hours in the morning and you have a plan for the next morning, but then you spend the 3 hours doing that. You'll run out of chance to do that anymore, so Andrew's obviously.
Yeah, if you, the main thing, if you don't do the first thing, you don't get the other 6 things that come after it, so
Yeah.
you gotta do the first thing. So,
And they can be all different, but. You know, I coach with both of these guys. And so I'm pretty close with Barry Minor Hockey. Later on today, I'm going down to the Barry Minor Hockey office and I'm bringing everybody there, Thanksgiving 5. And, so they, trust me, those people in the office, they know a lot of people. So when they hear somebody, I remind them, hey, if you ever hear of anybody, be sure to just stack cards.
Yeah.
That's prospect. That's super easy. They're, just the people that you know.
yeah, tell them, like, if you guys hear of anything, who's the first person? Tell them, call
And
it, right?
and what happened with the people in Allendale, what were their names?
Oh, Sarah and Kevin,
Sarah and Kevin.
my hair salon.
Sarah's the hair salon, so the only reason why she, and she's like the receptionist, so
She
you
was
would have
the
not really interacted with her.
Yeah.
But she's listening to him talk about I saw this incredible house today, or whatever it was, she knows who's a real estate agent. So she doesn't know anybody else, so because he was the secret agent when at the hair salon, she approached him.
She came up to me and I sold her place, then helped them buy and. Yeah, so they'll probably be forever clients now. I saw them yesterday, dropped off the pie, right? They had another kid, right? So. Yeah.
Thanks very much for sharing that.
Yeah. Those are some tips and tricks. Awesome. Bye, Andrea.
Thanks for that. Bye, guys. Bye, everyone.
See
Good
ya.
luck tonight.